This section. We're starting with Jacob, chapters 5 and 6.
The longest chapter in the Book of Mormon.
Yes, so we got some good reading going on. But the first section in the Come Follow Me manual for this week is what is an allegory? And so it kind of says it right here. It says allegories are stories that teach spiritual truth through symbols. So for example, this is an allegory, a story that teaches through symbols of olive trees. And it goes through and talks about what a couple of the symbols are here. And so it's just interesting seeing the different ways that we are taught in the scriptures. There's allegories, there's parables, which I was trying to look up the difference between an allegory and a parable. And I was I had a hard time finding too many differences. I didn't understand it completely. So if you have ideas of how to easily teach that, let us know. Because I still want to know all the differences. I know one was more, parables are shorter, more concise towards one thing. But anyway, parables, allegories, symbols, they're all different ways that the Lord teaches us. And it's cool because we're able to be taught on different levels with those. So I think it's just neat to have, a chance to be able to study different ways of being taught instead of being told this all the time. And you have a different way of doing it.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of ask the question, why does God use symbols, parables, allegories? And I think Laura hit the nail on the head in just saying that we can learn at different levels. You can tell the parable of the Good Samaritan, and a child can understand and pull a lesson from that. You can tell that to an adolescent, you can tell that to an adult, you can tell that to someone who's been around for a long time. And these symbols, these stories, these allegories, these parables, they can have different effects on us at different times of our life. And that's kind of the beautiful thing of why we kind of think that God does that to teach his truths.
Yeah.
So this opening section talks about some of the symbols found in the allegory of the olive tree. And so we see here that, for example, we have a vineyard, which represents the world. We have a tame olive tree, which represents Israel, or more specifically, those who have made covenants with God. Then we have the wild olive trees, which represent Gentile nations, or those who have not made covenants with God. And another symbol that's used throughout this allegory, all 77 verses of it, is of good fruit and is it bad? Is bad the bad fruit? And so uses the good. I don't know if it was poor or bad, but good fruit and bad fruit. And so these are two symbols. And so the opening question in this opening section is, to you, what could that mean? What could good fruit and bad fruit symbolize for you? So we'll take a minute to kind of answer that question.
Yeah, I was going through reading in a footnote. It took me, when talking about the fruit, it took me to Matthew 12:33, which said either make the tree good and his fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit. And so for me, the fruit seems like it's the works of men. It's like what you do. What we're doing, it's our fruit, our works. Are they good or are they bad?
Yeah,
that's kind of what I got from it.
I love fruit. I just think fruit is an awesome symbol for many reasons. Correct me if I'm wrong. A fruit is a fruit because it has seeds, right? I guess.
Well, there's other things.
There's other differentiating features. So I love the fact that fruits have seeds. Because, you take a seed and you can talk about a seed. You don't have to do anything. It is a seed. In order to bear fruit, a lot needs to happen to that seed. To get to a point that it grows, it sprouts, it roots, it becomes a plant, it becomes a tree. And even after all of that, still things need to happen for it to bear fruit. And so I love that so often a symbol for the gospel when teaching of when trying to teach spiritual symbols, that fruit is often related. Joseph Smith will often say that by their fruit you shall know them. That's a New Testament a phrase, and we say that about Joseph Smith in the Restoration. But also we as people, by our fruits, you can know us. What fruits, what actions we do. It's more connected with our character than rather our actions. It's kind of who we are and what we are. And then the beautiful thing about fruit is that fruit is not settled by just being fruit. Fruit has the ability to spring seeds to then grow more plants that spring up into more fruit. And so just the opportunity to multiply. But so in referencing good and bad, good fruit does all of those things. It nourishes, it tastes good, it is refreshing. We tell our kids to eat their fruits and vegetables because they are healthy. And so being able to be good fruit provides a lot of nurturing, health, prosperity, and just good things.
I like how fruit is generally sweet. I mean, I like sweets, of course, but like just it's good. It's sweet, Like I just feel like the gospel, like you touch people, you bring sweetness, you bring joy into their lives, through your fruits. That the things that you do, who you are, can really bring sweetness. I say sweetness, but like joy to other people's lives. I like how it's like sweet.
A big purpose of these videos, when Laura and I, there's lots of videos out there that teach us about the scriptures and digging in deeper and finding out the history. I mean, we have a lot of agricultural parables, allegories, because people it was understanding to them. They were involved in those types of things. And people can probably give a much better in-depth look at Jacob chapter 5 and giving a history and everything. The purpose of these videos was really to get into this manual. And that was our purpose in wanting to create these videos, because we had felt that there's not a lot of sources out there that point us to the manual.
Just simply here.
Yeah, and so that's what we have found. That is, I mean, I shared in the very beginning, Tadar Collister, who was our general Sunday school president when all of these were created, he said if the saints only knew the power that would come from opening up these manuals. And so that's what we're trying to do. As you dig into Jacob chapter 5 this week, I want to point one more thing out in regards to this manual. There is a wonderful chart. There is a wonderful chart here that goes through the different times before Christ came, while he was on the earth, after Christ, millennium. So it goes through that this allegory, you can have a chart to reference. I've also heard it say, as you're studying Jacob 5, use the footnotes. Laura showed an example of that today. Use the footnotes. Use the symbols. I mean,
page 49.
Page 49, the charts that are given to us. All of these things are to help us to get more from this allegory. And so we just want to say good luck as you go through it this week. I think with the reading chart, it's about the first 4 days this week are spent in this chapter. So enjoy it, love it, try and get meaning from it by using these sources.
Apply it to your life.
Apply it to your life. Good luck.